Okay. All right. Where do we start, man? I'm pretty sure everybody have heard all the talking heads in the media talking about this Paul George situation and what he supposedly said on the All the Smoke podcast. I for one, I don't jump to conclusions like that. And if someone is quoted saying something, I like to actually go directly to whatever talk show they was on where they said it or whatever reporter they said it to, so I can read the whole thing in context. And it don't seem like they did this, and I'm shocked because every time I turned the TV on and seen someone talking about this situation, they all talked about it the way the headline portrayed it, but it don't seem like they actually went to what he actually said and dissected it for themselves. So to give you a little bit of background on what happened, um, supposedly all the headlines say that Paul George blamed Doc Rivers um, for the failed season of the Los Angeles Clippers last year. And of course, he was on All the Smoke talking to Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, and they asked about the season and how he felt about it and how it's going to be different this year. With that being said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. With that being said, um, I pull up because I listened to All the Smoke, so I was like, let me see what he actually said. Um, so the way they're trying to play this out is he blamed Doc Rivers. Number one, he blamed Doc Rivers, and the two quotes they're using is a quote of him saying that Doc Rivers was using him like pretty much like a pure shooter, like a JJ Redick or a Ray Allen. The type of plays that he was running for Ray Allen in Boston and JJ Redick with the Clippers, he was running for him, using him like a shooter. And he was like, I have no problem with doing that, but it's just not my game. And the second quote is when he said that coming back from the 3-1 lead they had on Denver, that they didn't make any adjustments after the losses. Um, so they take that and fit it to a narrative that he blamed Doc Rivers for the whole failed season. And I'm gonna actually play you those quotes in its entirety, and I'll stop it halfway through and tell you what I think he was saying. And I'm gonna see if you agree with me. Leave it in the comments as well. So let me go ahead and play this. Let you hear it. Let me make sure my volume is up. All right.
Is gone. T. Lou is in. You know, me playing for that team and still being close to some people on the business side of it. You know, you hear there was some rumblings in the locker room and stuff was a little rougher than we thought it would be.
Hmm.
You guys seem to make it work and put it together as much as you can. What do you guys feel like, obviously, with the letdown of last season? What are we in store for this upcoming season, personally from you, but from a team as a whole?
For me,
Okay. Stop. The question was, and he kind of framed framed how he wanted him to go with it before he asked the question. He framed it up, kind of summed up the whole season, and then he said, "Explain to me how you feel going into this season, how it's going to be, and for the Clippers as a whole, and for you personally." So he's got two questions he's want to answer. How is this season going into this next season going to be better or different for the Clippers and for Paul George personally? Let's hear how he answers it.
because a lot of people like don't know. I work out and I train hard every summer, right? This was the first summer I wasn't able to do that because I had, this past summer going into last season was the first summer I wasn't able to do that because I had shoulder surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So I missed a whole summer of training. And so when I came back, the team was already,
Rolling.
rolling. They already
Mm-hmm.
got, we started off okay, but we didn't start off as well as we wanted to. But I feel like they already had a little chemistry going. And so when I came into the mix, I'm I missed the whole, like, I missed that time in the summer of playing pickup ball, hooping, getting a rhythm, getting a flow,
Mm-hmm.
working on my
Getting that
game,
timing right.
the timing right. So when I came back into the league, and started playing again, I just felt off. Like I didn't.
Okay, so he's taking ownership. He's saying, "Hey, look, man, due to me having surgery on both shoulders, and due to the team having their workouts and scrimmages and training camp, and he missed all of that. So all that gelling together as a team, he missed it. He didn't get a chance to do any of that. Rotations on defense is big in the NBA. Learning your new teammates. I mean, you can watch someone play from afar. You can even play against somebody, and you're not going to get 100% of what their abilities are until you start practicing with this person every day. You know, it's things you probably seen. You know, I've interviewed people that say they seen Michael Jordan do things at practice that they ain't never seen before. Like, you know, like the practices was just crazy. You know, but you know, you almost put yourself more in a box a little bit once you start running the game plan and doing all that stuff. So anyway, he didn't get a chance to do none of that with his teammates. They just threw him in the mix 30, 35 games into the season. It probably one day, but it's probably like 25 games into the season. Threw him in the mix, and mind you, the whole year, I want to say the Clippers only really had 1 or 2 practices as a whole. Kawhi and Paul George had 1 or 2 practices as a whole with the Clippers. Right. So he'll get into some of that. But what he's explaining is, look, I'm gonna start with myself first. I missed training camp. I was coming off surgery. And when I got to the team was already molded into, and it was already gelling, it was rolling. And I got to figure some things out. Now, what he's about to say next is going to be key.
Feel like a part of the team. And then, you know, the way I was being used, I felt like I was, you know, Doc was trying to play me as like a Ray Allen or like a JJ Redick, all pin downs, all like I can do it, but that ain't my game. Like, you know what I mean? I need some flow. I need some mixes of pick and rolls. I need some post ups, all that, just different touches. You know what I mean?
All right. So remember the topic and the question. The question was, going into this new season, what's going to be different for the Clippers or better, and what's going to be different or better for Paul George. And he's describing why he think some things was off when he first came back to the Clippers, because he had surgery and he missed the offseason and a lot of important things. Then he said at the beginning, when I came to the team, Doc Rivers, you know, he's describing why he felt like he was off, why he felt like he wasn't gelled with the team. He's describing all these things. And oh, by the way, on top of all of that, Doc Rivers had plays installed for me that was treating me like a pure shooter. And Paul George has really turned himself into a great 3-point shooter, but Ray Allen, he is not, right? So he's saying they was using him like a shooter. And this is the things he's describing at the beginning of the season. At this point, he hasn't blamed Doc Rivers for nothing that happened in the season. He's describing the beginning of the Clippers and that important part of what a team's supposed to have, training camp, playing together, practices, he's saying wasn't there. Plus the fact at the beginning, he was being used in a way that wasn't utilizing the best parts of his game. And Steven Jackson is going to say something about how important training camp is. And then they're going to go into the second question, right? So at this point right now, I don't hear that he blamed Doc Rivers for anything. They're not even talking about the season. He just asked what's going to be different this year. And he said the fact that he's pretty much saying the fact that we're going to have a full training camp as a team is going to be different.
And so it was just, you know, that last season was just hard overall. But I think for this year,
hard overall because of the slow start, the not gelling at the beginning, the things that you're supposed to do as a team at the beginning, they was trying to do during the middle of the season and in the playoffs. Like they trying to gel in the playoffs. That's not a good sign.
Everybody's starting off on a healthy page.
Everybody's starting off on a healthy page. He's continuously talking about the start.
Off on the same page. Me and Kawhi gonna get some time together, working out. I think everything is just not rushed going into this season.
It's just not rushed. He's talking about the beginning stages of forming this team. They, you know, they didn't get what they were supposed to get normally at the beginning of the season, training camp. Things are not rushed. You know what I'm saying? They get to chill a little bit, you know.
But last year, everything was
I
kind of
think it happened for a reason. I think y'all gonna benefit from that because going through the wars and the struggles and the ups and downs I went through in the bubble, now y'all coming out to start again with a new coach, with a fresher minded coach, with a guy who y'all probably can communicate more with because he's more close to our age, and we got, you know what I'm saying, we come from that same era. But at this, I think
now if people really wanted to dig into the statement that Steven Jackson is saying right now, if they was out for blood, they could dig into that statement and say that he's saying Doc Rivers was out of tune with his players. So you can easily flip it and say Steven Jackson is blaming Doc Rivers as well, because now he's making the case that a younger coach in Ty Lue will be more in sync with the players that is on the Clippers team, right? So if they really wanted to flip something and make a story out of it, they can make a story out of that. But they chose to flip the words of Paul George to make a story, and I'm gonna explain that at the end once I play out of this.
I think y'all benefit from those hard times. Y'all come together more this year because y'all starting from scratch.
Right.
Being in training camp together, it makes a big difference, bro.
Right.
It makes a big difference for a team going together. And once y'all get that, I think y'all be fine.
So he's saying the same thing Paul said. Getting in training camp, forming as a team, start to form, start to perform, all of the good stuff. All that in training camp is important. All that stuff is important. Paul George missed it. Right? Steven Jackson just second everything Paul George just said. At this point, nobody's blaming Doc for anything.
Right.
And I just think to understand, I mean, you got to think for the first time, the Clippers were picked to win a championship. When was the last time you ever heard that?
Right.
I mean, so a lot of added pressure on that. And then, like you said, not being able to gain that chemistry from the jump. And people can say what they want. Chemistry is the key.
It ain't got nothing to do with Doc. Nobody's blaming Doc.
Nobody says chemistry's got to be there.
It's got to be there.
That's why you're playing, and to not have that was tough, you know. But I was
they didn't have it.
You guys,
Nobody's blaming Doc.
You guys were built to beat who we thought was going to be in the West Finals, and I'm sure you felt the same way. How tough was it going in?
Okay, here's the second question. So the first question is out of the way. Anybody believe that someone blamed Doc? Out of everything that was said, leave it in the comments. Do anybody think that somebody blamed Doc Rivers? I don't see it.
And having that lead on Denver and then seeing them walk y'all down and walk y'all out pretty much.
Yeah, it was tough because we was confident. We felt like, we went up 3-1.
Okay, now so here's the second question. Talking about Denver and the 3-1 lead that they blew. And he's answering the question. I want to see if he blamed Doc Rivers in this one. Right now, he's saying we thought we had it. We. So you got two things. When he says we, is he talking about just the players, or he's talking about the whole players plus the coaching staff? Let's continue to listen.
We felt like we gonna win the next one. We lost. Like cool. We up 3-2. We gonna win the next one. We lost. But during that whole process, like we never worked on adjustments.
All right. So when he's saying we, you gotta decipher in your head. When he's saying we, is he talking about the players only or the players plus the coaching staff? Let's just go ahead and assume he's talking about the players and the coaching staff. And if anything changes that from what he said, then we'll change it. But right now, let's assume he's talking about the players and the coaching staff. So if we all thought we had it and we didn't make adjustments, who is he talking about? I'm trying to figure out how he's blaming Doc.
What to do differently. We just literally having the same shit happen over.
Having the same stuff happen
again. So it started to play a trick on you. Like, man.
Started to play a trick on you. What's going on?
I mean, we talking amongst each other.
We talking amongst each other. All right, now we getting down to the root of who we is.
Conversations is like, we gonna be all right.
We gonna be all right.
The conversation should have been like, we
need to change.
Yeah, we need to switch.
We need to switch this up.
So we wasn't like at the end of the day. I don't think we deserved it. We wasn't prepared enough going into it.
How many times did he say we versus how many times did he say Doc? Right? He's taking accountability. He's saying we thought that we was just going to beat Dallas. And in my opinion, he's talking about we as the players in the locker room. This is the conversations they're having in the locker room because that's what he said.
Just us making an adjustment standpoint. We wasn't prepared. We didn't put the work into it. It was kind of just like, yo, we got PG, we got Quad, we got Lou, Trez. Like we gonna be straight. We gonna figure it out.
All that shit on paper looks good.
It
But like
look
we
good.
said,
Does that sound like something the coach would say? Ty Lue, the one that's coaching them now as an assistant. He was an assistant last year. Sam Cassell, Doc Rivers. When he's saying we, is he saying that Doc Rivers now was thinking, you know what? Now we got Paul, we got Kawhi, we got Lou, we got Trez. We'll be fine. We're not gonna make no adjustments. Or is he saying that they're talking amongst themselves in the locker room, and they just thought that they was just gonna be okay? That's what it sounds like to me. So even with the second question, there was 2 questions asked. What's going to be different this year, and what happened with the 3-1 lead? The first thing he said about what's going to be different is, well, we're going to be all together at the beginning. I'm healthy. We're all healthy. We get to have training camp together and build that chemistry, right? We didn't have that last year. Plus, when I came in last year, I was getting used different. I was getting used in the way that I shouldn't have been used. And then the second question is, okay, what about the 3-1 lead? Well, hey, man, we thought we had it. We didn't make adjustments. I'm trying to figure out where he's blaming Doc.
Man, you know, like, and I related to, like, we didn't practice during the whole year, and that's hard to do when you put in a fresh new group of guys.
We didn't practice. That's not Doc's fault. He's not blaming Doc. The schedule, the fact that when he came back, they went on the road. They started traveling. You know, they had a long road trip, and they was all over the place playing games, and still haven't had a practice yet. And then COVID hit. So now you can't practice. And then the bubble started, and now you in the bubble. Just imagine this, the playoffs started, and the Clippers only had 1, maybe 2 practices the whole season. This is the stuff he's describing. This ain't got nothing to do with Doc.
Because the problems you have during games, those shits can get ironed out in practice. You know what I mean? You're going to bump heads in practice, but you're going to come out of that practice like, okay, I understand this dude. I know where he's coming from. When it happened during games, it's going to rub a little differently because
hard to come back from that doing it.
It's hard to come back from that, especially in the playoffs.
The heat of the moment. Yeah.
Right. And you like, wow, okay, that's what he on. So, all right, I got you. And that's just kind of how the team, you know what I mean? That's just kind of how we was, how we went about it after stuff started, unfolding and unraveling.
Okay. So somebody explain to me how he blamed Doc Rivers and all of that. How did he blame Doc Rivers for the whole season? So what ended up happening is you got the media. There's no basketball being played, right? Football has been good, but the analysts is on ESPN and all this. So these it's mostly basketball guys. It's mostly basketball talk. LeBron is like the huge talk. The NBA is like the huge talk. You get a little bit of traction with football, but for the most part, it's basketball. So whenever you can get basketball to talk about, they love it, especially LeBron. In the last 10 years, right? So, what's going on right now with the Clippers is Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers as a whole organization is the easiest target right now. The best thing for Paul George and Kawhi and the Clippers to do is never talk. Don't say anything the whole season, because you have Shannon Sharp, you have Nick Wright, and then you have some other guys that seem to be neutral. You know what I'm saying? But once the ball started, and you got Kendrick Perkins as well. They're really a big LeBron apologist, and they love nothing more to see the Clippers in turmoil. And whatever Paul George and Kawhi do this year that's a misstep, they're going to be on top of it. So what you have here is just an opportunity for them to have an easy target, and Kyrie and KD is going to be an easy target for them too. So just watch this season. Watch Kendrick Perkins, Shannon Sharp, and Nick Wright, and everyone who's on the show with them, because Nick Wright's show with Brandon Marshall and the other guy and then the female, they all on one accord. They go with Nick Wright, because it was Nick Wright and Chris Carter. And when they fired Chris Carter and made that show Nick Wright's, it was almost like he handpicked his contemporaries. And when that happens, they probably have some type of level of loyalty to him. So they're not gonna call him on a lot of his BS. They agree with him a lot. He gave him an opportunity. Same thing that happened kind of with Shannon Sharp when he first came up with Skip. Even though they had difference of opinions when it came to the GOAT, LeBron and MJ, but that was actually what made the show, having those GOAT debates and having them be on each side of the spectrum on it. But when it came to heated debates, Skip and Shannon never pulled rank on him. Like, hey, look, I'm a Hall of Fame tight end. I played football. You don't know what you're talking about. He never pulled rank on him. He always respected him because Skip gave him an opportunity when Skip and Stephen A split up. He was like, I'm gonna give him a shot. Right. Same thing's going on with Nick Wright right now. So when you watch Nick Wright stuff, I can't even watch it, to be honest with you. He's so biased, and his crew with him is just just tagging along with him. It makes me chuckle a little bit when something happens when it comes to Kyrie, KD, Paul George, Kawhi, or anything like that, and here you watching this show, and they'll play the clip, and Nick Wright just started laughing, and the whole panel is just laughing. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. You're supposed to be journalists, right? So it's disgusting, man. So I really don't watch those things anymore. But yeah, watching all that stuff today and seeing everybody not really I guess not really pay attention to what he actually said, and they just took the headlines and was like, oh shoot, we got a story we can run with. It's almost like the media is like, we don't have no controversy, and controversy sells. So when you get anything that's not real controversy, but we can turn it into controversy, they'll accept the latter. If you can turn it into something and drama sells and controversy sells, then that's what we'll do. No one's taking the high road and saying, well, he never really said that. And in my opinion, he never really blamed Doc Rivers. And I would respect it a whole lot if Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, or at least one of them, come publicly and say, y'all taking this the wrong way. I was sitting here talking with them. Y'all taking it out of context. He didn't mean that. I would respect them if they actually did that. And I would have thought they would have done it already by now, but maybe they so much part of the media now that, they understand what the nature of the beast is. And hey, look, man, we need to spin stories, because without that, we don't get ratings, we don't get views. And without ratings and views, we don't get money. So that's my opinion. I think the media is taking this and running with it. There's nothing to really see here. They're just spinning the narrative, and they go keep spinning it all season. Watch my word. The Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers are at war with the media. The media will be on them like white on rice. It's not even funny, man. Just take a step back. Just take a step back. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, and just watch the media. And I'm telling you, Brooklyn Nets and the Clippers, if they're not perfect, they're going to be on them like white on rice. And that's all I got to say, man. I forgot to say, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button and that bell so you get all notifications whenever I go live, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes as well. But until next time, peace.